to see you too.
Yeah, it's like a little reunion. I'm so happy that you agreed to join and take time away from like all of the cool, I don't know, AI stuff that you're building to come talk to us about it. This is like totally a big treat for us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, what I wanted to do to get the ball rolling for the people who are joining in, Seth and Zakey and I worked together at a previous company where Seth and Zakey were doing AI engineering, and then I kind of come along with like a UX research perspective, and really try to like muck around with what they're doing, learn how AI engineering like works, and where there are opportunities to insert like a user-centered perspective. And I have to say, you guys have always been super welcoming to that point of view, even though I think we were all kind of figuring out both the technology and then, where we could like collaborate and where it made sense. So just a huge thank you. I think our audience is going to learn a ton about just AI engineering and how to partner across disciplines. So that's pretty cool.
I told Zach it is going to be the least professional conversation you have. Lots of nerd speak,
Oh,
and
I love it.
yeah, we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll
Are
see
we
how.
going to have a debate? Are we going to have a lively debate here on vibe coding? Is that true?
Potentially,
Yeah,
although I think
yeah.
Seth's been convinced that vibe coding is the way. So
Oh
we very
man,
recently. So we'll
shots
see how it
fired.
goes. Yeah.
Wow. I actually would have had it backwards. I would have assumed that you would be on different sides of that debate when you said you guys were.
Oh, we
Uh,
are. He's
oh,
joking.
okay. Okay. That tracks. All right. Well, then, for the benefit of myself, actually, and all the folks joining, could you say a little bit about what it is that you are doing currently? What kinds of AI problems you're working on? Just like very broadly, what's happening?
Yeah, I can start. So we're at Shift Engineering. It's a new company in Charlottesville, Virginia. We're working on AI products in the financial space. So we have a couple of different products that we've been working on. One is for a quant hedge fund that helps kind of catch them up to speed in the generative AI space. And that's kind of a unique case in that it can't touch the internet. So it works with a lot of different local or open weights models. So if you've heard of Llama or Meta's Llama models, it's a lot of different tools in that space. And then there's the tool that I've been working on, which is for equity research analysts and helping them. They get a lot of different signals from a lot of different tools, both like messaging tools as well as buy and sell side research. So I'm building a centralized intelligence platform to help them make faster, better decisions. And I'll let Zachy talk about the third product that we've been building as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Zakey. I worked with Jill previously at Willow Tree, and was at Willow Tree for many years, and then yeah, I sort of got into the AI space sort of when ChatGPT came out. Was that late 22? And I've just been kind of tinkering around, figuring out how to integrate it into software and since. And yeah, I'd say that that's kind of how I would describe what we do at Shift, is trying to figure out how to integrate this new technology in business workflows in ways that are useful for customers and beyond just like chatbots or things like that. So, yeah, what I'm working on right now. So although our target customer is kind of in the finance space, we do have this additional customer in the public sector government space where they have an interesting platform where they kind of scrape all the data that exists at all levels of government, city, state, and federal, regarding like government contracts and bids for those contracts. And they sort of scrape all that data and make it available for people interested in doing work for government. They make that data available for them to find like the work that's suitable for them. So for example, if like you offer like IT services for schools, and that's kind of like your specialty, you can like use their platform to find the contracts relevant for you. And but the problem is that there's still like so much data out there.
Mm.
So we're trying to integrate this tool we've built called Folio into their platform to help customers sort of sift through all of the data to find what matters for them. And yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Awesome.
what I've been working on recently.
Yeah, you both are in very sort of highly regulated space. It sounds like there's a lot of complexity and nuance to the problem spaces that you're in. Like Zakey, you were saying, well, we're going beyond the chatbot, which, to some out there, is this news? Like there are things beyond chatbots that generative AI can help solve. So this is really cool work that you're doing. And I'm going to ask more, obviously, about the responsibility aspects of those, but I want to step back for just a moment because there's a lot of folks, gosh, recently with like the job market being crazy, both like in engineering and UX and in general. It's just a crazy time in tech right now, it feels like. So I get a lot of questions about people who are looking to expand their skills. They might be looking for just traditional, like new opportunities that AI might open up. So I wonder if you could each spend a little bit of time just talking about how you got into working with generative AI, what your background was. And I know, like Zakey, you were talking about like when ChatGPT came out, that was like really a turning point for you. So what about others who might be thinking about making kind of a pivot to lean into AI? Just maybe you could share your story as to how you did that.
Seth, you want to go first?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that when GPT 3.5 came out, that was really like a turning point for me to realize that this technology was going to be able to do amazing things. Um, and, from that perspective, I think that anyone who is interested in any technology should just go play with it to start. And the tough thing that happened when I started really getting into like deploying software, shipping software in the AI space was around the quality of model output. And that's where I think that folks should spend most of their time. So if you can, for example, like figure out how to work on evaluations, work to validate that outputs are better. That's what takes you, I think, from like experimentation into professionalism. But that said, like just speaking to like general opportunities, there does seem to be a lot of opportunity in the hiring space just from my own anecdotal experience. Like any new technology is going to cause new jobs. I do think that eventually this is going to be considered kind of table stakes, just because I think from my view, the adoption of AI, generative AI specifically, is going to be so wide that it will be like another expected tool that you will have to know as an engineer, like JavaScript, for example. Everybody kind of ends up touching JavaScript at some point, and now I think you'll end up touching AI. But yeah, the big difference is really that now you're working with something that's not always the same, and that's where the challenges are. And some of the techniques and things are forever changing, which can be uh, annoying, but
All part of
um,
the fun, yes.
yeah, yeah. I think though, like, I mean, I think back to like when mobile disrupted Flash early in my
Mm.
career. And there's maybe someone sitting around that's still a Flash or ActionScript 3 programmer who never wanted to learn web technology. And you have to always be ready to watch industry changes. And this was just another one, in my opinion. And I think we have a tendency to blow it out of the water like it's some absolute everyone should go into this space, but it really is just another tool to use. It's another thing that you should have experience in, just like CI/CD platforms, etc. So I kind of see it as every engineer should at this point be using this technology and have some familiarity with it.
Ooh, so much to dig into. I want to hear Zakey's kind of take on, yeah, the current state and just kind of how you got into really immersing yourself with generative AI in particular.
Yeah, so how I got into it was pretty much just like when ChatGPT first came out. I was just really curious about it and tinkered with it and played with it. And then after I kind of like got a sense for like, oh, okay, this is what it can do, then I tried to see how I could integrate it into, I don't know, like side projects or like other things I was working on, and incorporate it into other like parts of my life, like I don't know, helping read contracts or uh, not writing emails. I didn't like writing emails at the
Don't
time.
lie.
Yeah, but I don't know, just like trying to see like where can I apply this, like, and trying to push the limits, and pretty much like I don't know, since then I've just constantly been trying to push the limits, like see like, oh, can I use this tool for this, like will it do this, like just last night for example, I'm creating a shed, I'm building a shed in my yard, and I needed help like calculating some like framing calculations, and I was like, I don't know if it'll be able to do like the calculations for rafter
Yeah.
map, but I'm just going to try it and see how it does. And
Hmm.
and it did pretty well. But like yeah, I'm pretty much like constantly thinking like, oh, can I use ChatGPT for this, or can I use this AI tool for that? And like constantly pushing the limits. And by doing that, I've sort of like, I don't know, built up my understanding, um and yeah, that's kind of how I like got into this space. People noticed that I had a good understanding, and I sort of like got into more roles involving like incorporating Gen AI into products, and yeah, that's how it worked.
Yeah. You both sound so humble talking about tinkering, because you guys feel like you're just like very masterful, very skilled. So, audience, do not be deceived. These are really, really awesome engineers at work, and you both are software engineers by background, right? Like that's kind of your training and experience. As you have tinkered, what have you found to be similar and different in terms of software engineering versus AI engineering?
A lot more string handling,
Hmm. Say more
parsing
for
and
those non-technical folks.
yeah, I think that when let's say like a good example is like we're trying to summarize a 10K or a financial filing. Um, it struggles, right? Because you're trying to guide it towards like the exact output that an analyst wants so that they can see like in a perfect data extraction, the summary is only one line and it has key financials, right? Um, and here is this black box that I don't know how to get a particular summary out the way I want. And Zakey's better at this than me. But the only way to change it really and get it better is to tell it what to do in English, which is really
Hmm.
strange.
Hmm.
'Cause you're used to being able to code different things and shift things different ways with algorithms and that doesn't work anymore. So you have to write a validation case, kind of figure out what you're headed for, and then prompt things and change things in English. You can tune hyper parameters and things, but that's not always like the solve. So yeah, it's like a different problem, and you're never 100% certain that it's going. Well, it doesn't work 100% of the time. There's no case where that ever happens. So you have to be ready to like we are tinkerers. Zakey is a bigger tinkerer than me, and you're tinkering in English. It's a different space.
That's super interesting. Yeah, Zachy. Yeah, your take.
Yeah, the way I describe it as being different from software engineering is that, well, firstly, like I don't know, I think of software engineering as kind of um, like I don't know, like add a button here that like when you click on it, it like sends data and it goes to a database, and it's like really straightforward.
Hmm.
Whereas like with AI engineering, I'm kind of like basically like with the model, I'm trying to figure out what information to give to it, how to give it to it, like in what order to give it to it, what information to hide from it at certain times, and then that's like the input side. And then with the output side of the model, like um, how to like parse the different things that the model wants to do, how to be like defensive around it, how to like catch mistakes or hallucinations or errors. And so it's like it's kind of like a fickle thing where like
Hmm.
I'm constantly like trying to I'm trying to optimize like the marshaling of information going into the model and the marshaling of information going out. And yeah, that's how I would describe it as the difference. I don't know if that answered your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
And applying that at scale is a particular problem because you'll
Mm.
do it for one document and then someone wants to load 1,000 documents and have it do the same thing every time. And that, it just becomes that if you get through 90% of the documents and it does the task 90% of the time, we're pretty happy, but all the stakeholders aren't necessarily happy that 90% is not good enough. It depends, but
Yeah, it's like it's really interesting working with like an indeterministic system and figuring out like what's good enough and trying to come up with metrics for different tasks and things like that. So yeah, it's totally different because software before was just always like very deterministic and unit tests always either worked or didn't. And yeah, so it's
Yeah.
pretty different.
Yeah. Well, given the finicky nature, I think you said I love that word. It's finicky. Um, is it generally, in your opinion, like worth it? Like, there can be, I think, depending on like what you read and pay attention to, an inclination for organizations to think, well, AI can just do these things, right? And I'm hearing there's, trade-offs. There's a lot of work that goes into marshaling these models, and then the outputs are a bit different and open-ended. So that's the advantage. Also the risk. Do you find clients wanting to force fit it where it doesn't belong? Have you ever said, you know what, this isn't really the approach, the technical solution to this particular problem, as you've kind of played in different spaces?
I think my view on this is that it's just so important for businesses to tackle use cases instead of saying like we want to use Gen AI for X. It needs to be we want to build this software to solve certain problem, and that problem involves looking at huge blocks of text and extracting data, like a natural language processing task, for example. So we need to do NLP, and therefore we will use these very powerful models. Um, Things like data extraction. And if you're thinking about the root problem that you're trying to solve and the output that you're trying to get to, like the end state, there are use cases that generative AI is great for. But I do think generally everybody wanted to be in the space. There's frankly like huge investment in this space. And there's the desire to continue pushing workers to be, you know, more optimal at their jobs faster,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So yeah, I think that there are potentially like diminishing returns, or some folks may have run into issues in actual application of that. But yeah, chasing the use cases and separating out to like truly solve the problems and apply AI with more of a finer lens is really critical.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like that it businesses need to give a hard look on like where Gen AI would be actually useful because it is expensive to
Hmm.
engineer Gen AI solutions and like it's not always useful. Like just like a basic chatbot that I don't know has access to all the company's docs. Um, in some cases that can be useful. In some cases that can be like pretty useless.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
um, yeah, not much more to say. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like other software. Like there's probably like for every like really useful app, there's probably like tons of like really useless apps that like a lot of information or effort went into building them. Um, so yeah, it's just I mean it's the same as any other.
Mhm. Is it different for you? I mean, I'm hearing it is different, that the way that you interact with these tools is through, language, like English or whatever your default language is there. But it's not the coding languages that you're accustomed to, is what I'm getting at. So what do you think about that mind shift? You guys have really leaned into it. I assume maybe for some engineers, that's a little bit of just like a mind shift and a skill maybe shift.
I think there's two worlds there.
Hmm.
At least when you ask that question, like there is me using AI as a reference tool for my own code,
Mm.
and that's amazing. And like I could never do without my chatbot. Um, and then there's building AI product. They're just different things, right?
Mm.
In my case, when I'm working with my code, I'm using it as a reference tool so it can tell me the answer to like, how do I sort this in the most optimal way, right? Or how do I apply this algorithm in TypeScript? Um, but then for a product, it's different. There are different rules. You have to be more careful. And yeah, building a chatbot for the world, that's different. There's different concerns, right? Than what I mean, I love my tool. It's great. Chat with code. It's amazing.
Mm.
But
Yeah. Zakey, was it a
Um,
big pivot for you? Yeah. What do you think?
I think I don't know, working in English is kind of really interesting because I don't know, like the meme is that like engineers like don't have to worry too much about like writing, or like engineers hate like
Mm.
English classes in college or whatever. But now it's like really important to have a strong like grasp, or to be able to like really comfortably wield the English language so that you can structure your thoughts, not only like when you're using generative AI like in prompting things, but like when you're constructing prompts in products. You have to, I don't know, like like wield English effectively to be
Hmm.
able to get the model to do what you want it to do. So uh, yeah, I find it interesting, and uh, I don't know. I find it kind of funny that like engineers will have to be like really good at using English now, probably increasingly so
Hmm.
as technology progresses.
Well, it's very heartening to this former history major, actually. I'm like, ooh, this reminds me of actually, it's a lot like doing user interviews. That's one thing that I found is like how you try to set up a prompt in a way that's not necessarily biasing. It's not unlike creating like a discussion guide for a user study or something like that. So I find it a little heartening. But wanted to talk about, oh, we've got a couple of notes in here. So Stephanie Lewandowski, another former
oh,
Tree person. Yeah. She was just saying, love the insights on really finding the right spot to apply Gen AI to get the returns you want. So, yeah, she and I talked quite a bit about that. I wonder if you all could say, are there use cases where you have found this is just not going to be the tool? Or is it just a matter of finessing it and until it is? Yeah, where are the boundaries?
um, yes, but I feel like we don't build those, at least in our so that's coming up less,
Gotcha.
frankly. But yeah, I think that a lot of the systems that we try to build are less enterprise search, and more focused. So generally over time, what I've noticed is we have noticed more power and better results out of the generative AI use cases if we focus the context window. So, for example, if you're trying to search across millions of documents at a business, that's a different problem space than just looking at one document and trying to get it to have a particular output or generate particular metrics, right? And so the tasks that I think generally we're heading towards are these specific tasks. And I think that generally my view is that that's where the most useful stuff comes from. Um, in the other use case where you're looking over a large corpus of data, that's really an information retrieval problem. And that's a
Mm.
space that I think AI can be confused with.
Yeah.
The search space has been around for a long time, and there are metrics that evaluate the quality of search that have existed since the 1980s. So, really, I don't consider that an AI problem anymore. It's
Mm.
there's really two spaces: information retrieval problems and generative AI problems, and I think we're just focused on the AI problems right now. Um, but yeah, enterprise search is one of those things that will continue to be an issue. But I'm not sure I ever believe that every time someone asks a question at a large company with millions of documents into a chatbot, that it will get the result 100% of the time. So I just would encourage folks to not chase that one.
Yeah. But I bet, is it the case people still kind of expect that? At least that's still my take, that the expectations are still quite high for
yeah,
accuracy and yeah. Mhm.
yeah, I think so, and I think it's frustrating where maybe we got a little bit better in the information retrieval space, but I think that it's marginally better than these traditional information retrieval technologies. So you're talking about like a 5% boost in accuracy of these retrieval systems. And then you're throwing these, 85 to 90% accurate results at a model and asking it to generate some text. So if you look
Mm.
at the technical reasons of why these wide use cases aren't working, it all kind of makes sense. It's just so much data. And uh, the better use case is really to apply the finer lens on many documents, but like one at a time of these
Hmm.
very specific focused tasks. So it's kind of what we're doing is looking at individual financial documents or government documents and trying to find the most important information that we can that helps people not have to read through them, frankly.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Zach, anything to add or did Seth cover it?
Yeah, the way I like to put it is like I don't know, I like to surgically apply Gen
Mhm.
AI
Yeah.
into like really specific existing business workflows. Um, and like an example would be like, okay, contrast like just general chat GPT with like Cursor, for example, the coding tool that we use where you can like highlight